So, Ruben, a couple of, or 4 minutes, I think, cost you in the end. 2 mistakes. How did you see it?
Yeah, just defensively poor in those moments. I think it was a throw-in and a wide free kick. Some individual errors there, with the defensive setup and just lapses of concentration, which away from home, you're always going to pay.
So just the conditions I saw towards in the second half in particular, it was for both teams, but obviously you were coming back into the game and stuff like that. A lot of crosses were held up. How good or bad was it out there? I couldn't tell. I was in the box.
Well, we went in at half-time. It was actually, the conditions were quite nice and came out to like a very, very strong headwind in our face. So it's nice to know Carl Veer controls the weather here at Hindmarsh as well in his favour, as well as the game. But look, disappointed. Disappointed that we're not going to make any excuses about weather, the conditions. I just thought tonight or today, I just don't think we executed well. I don't think we were just a bit sloppy. And to be honest, in the warm up, you could see, the coaches came in and told me that the warm up was quite flat, and they need a little bit of a rev up. And the spirit's great in that dressing room. Can't fault the character. Again, with 2 goals down, we've shown character to come back in that game and still chasing it late. The spirit, the character, the fight, the effort's good. But away from home against a quality Adelaide team, you need to execute. And I just don't think we executed well in and around either box.
Looks like you're building a nice team, especially with your winger Williams, your number 10. Didn't run out the game, but is this the plan? Maybe in a couple of weeks' time, you played 4 games away from home now. You got 8 out of 9 at home. I think in January, so you're building towards it.
Yeah, well, even in my role last year as an interim manager with a team that I didn't build and took over a team very low in confidence. We played 4 games at home, won 1, drew 2, and lost 1. So we've only lost 1 game out of the 4 at home, but the rest have all been away. And it's difficult. Adelaide, they went down to 10 men last week against Sydney and came back because they're a good team. And we won't be the last team that Adelaide beat here at Coopers this year, that's for sure. And they're a good team. And like I say, we're building. Like you're right, we are building. There's some real positives. There's always positives, and we stay very focused on the long term as well as the short term. They're both important. We've got short term goals. We want to be super competitive, which we were again in the game. We were competitive in the game. We want to win as many games as we can away from home. Whatever we have to deal with, we'll embrace those challenges. But there's a long-term plan, and players like Ryan Williams and some of those other players like a Mark Beavers, Aaron McAneff, some of those new players, even a young Zach Duncan, he was leggy today and I had to drag him off after 20, 25 minutes, and it's a tactical change, but he's been fantastic for us. So there's some real positives there. We're bringing on players that are out of the NPL, Jacob Dowse, Keegan Yelich making his first start out of the NPL for us, for our club anyway. And yeah, there's just a lot of positives there. We are building, and it's going to take time. Which doesn't make it any easier right now after a loss anyway.
You mentioned Ryan Williams did have some success down that right hand side. Was that sort of deliberate heading into the game, or did you sort of pick it up early, or did the guys pick it up early and thought that was probably an area to work on?
Yeah, well, in that shape, the wing backs are obviously important to us, especially when we're attacking. I thought Ryan's energy was really good tonight. I thought it was super positive, and he kept asking questions of the opposition defence, which was really good. But we can still be so much better. Ryan's a player. I've got a huge opinion of him as a player and a person. He did well tonight, but there's still more to come. There's a lot more to come from him. And once the combinations, with other teammates and players start to gel and they're still kind of finding their feet and figuring that out, the longer we're together, the better he'll get, among others.
And the strike from Gio, really good from where we were sitting. You were obviously a lot closer. It looked a really impressive strike. Yeah,
great goal. We needed it in that moment. I was... happy with the fight back that we showed in that first half. And G is someone who epitomises that at our club. His work ethic is inspirational, and that's a daily thing for him. That's not nothing that comes good for G is by luck. Everything's practiced. He practices a hell of a lot, and he works on his game. So for him to get that reward, he's got that in him. He's got the ability to finish and score, and I've had that in my youth team with him. But great strike. It's a shame that we couldn't then kick on and get another goal and make it even more of a positive for him.
So what's his background? What is his background?
As in
player. As a player, where did he come from?
G. So he spent his time at a club called Bayswater in the NPL over there in Perth. he was coached by Chris Coyne and among others, and was always a player who had, from a really early age, I wasn't there, but I've been told that from a really early age, he had an extreme appetite for the game and very driven. And like I say, he works enormously towards, getting better, and he really wanted to be a professional footballer. And when I came to the club, he was a youth team player that was doing quite well, and he made his debut under Richie, and kind of, again, just steady as she goes and slowly improves. But the amount of work he puts into his game and into his club and his team is just huge. And so I just think he's a player that's really, really growing, week by week, season by season. I've been with him now 2.5 years, and we've got a really good relationship and understanding, and he understands, how hard that our teams work. So, yeah, we're trying to build a team around some good characters, and he's certainly one of them.
Was his goal world class, do you think?
Yeah, I'll have to watch it back, but he's got, like I say, he's got it in his locker. It's not the first time, and it won't be the last time. He backs himself, which is really, really important.
Well done, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.